Okay.
Thank you.
So thanks very much. So stand up here.
Yes.
Morning, everybody. Yes. Okay. If it's the Emperor's New Clothes, as in companies or organisations or artists standing behind a fancy new website or a fancy new web strategy, and that meaning that they think they're up to speed with this new world, then yeah, that's a recipe for disaster. But there's a brilliant book I must recommend to you. I mean, we're all in the process of sharing links and sources, so it's a generous space, so let's do it. The best book I've read on the internet and on Web 2.0 is by a guy called Clay Shirky, C-L-A-Y-S-H-I-R-K-Y. The book's called Here Comes Everybody, Organising Without Organisations. And it's a brilliant book which just gets to the core of where we are with the internet at the moment. He says that the internet at the moment enables, quote unquote, insanely easy group forming. That's what you can do with the internet, is that you can coordinate yourself into a group, whereas in the past it used to take a building, bureaucracy, personnel, different levels of staff. Now you can go onto Ning or onto a network and you can coordinate your group around whatever interest you want. The costs of doing that are incredibly low. Now, the other thing that the Clay Shirky says in this book is that we mustn't mistake the cart for the horse, as it were. We mustn't say that because people are socialising on the web, that means that the community is going to be a real community. I mean, he flips it all the way around. He says the most vital web communities are those that are, in a sense, communities generated from face-to-face interest. Communities that have been driven by a common passion, that have people meeting in the real world and then use the web to, as it were, accentuate, amplify, refine what it is that they're talking about in real-world meetings or festivals or events or salons. So I think the interesting challenge for a room full of people who are arts marketers and who are interested in what is the relationship between artist and audience and as I'm going to talk about this in my breakout this afternoon, is to realise just how powerful an instrument live performance is in creating a spirit of community. It's epiphanal, it's collective in the best sense if you're doing it right. You're creating a spirit of collective joy. I mean, you're getting people out from their terminals, paying money to be in a delimited space, to have an experience. I mean, in terms of fueling and driving the social and communal potentials of the web, that's an extraordinary asset that the performing arts have. Vis-a-vis movies, I mean, in a sense, most of my experience, your experience is going to watch movies, but you're watching it in pretty nondescript places mostly, and there's no real sense of epiphany. It might come off the screen, but you don't really have a sense of being in a place. The thing that Tilda Swinton did is maybe moving in that direction. Tilda Swinton did this crazy idiosyncratic film festival up in Nairn. So she, as Gert would say, created the context in which she could watch movies. So maybe that's coming to the movie industry. But certainly, I'm looking at it as a musician, and I'm turning up to do gigs, and I'm paying musicians, and I'm doing all that kind of physical labour of getting and doing a tour. And what the net makes you realise is that there's a ball of energy there that the net can capture, commemorate, allow memory to extend over a long period of time. It's an incredible opportunity for people who create these balls of collective joy called conferences or concerts in a hall or performances in a hall. The challenge is, as Gert would say, really to the artists, a lot to the artists and to the artistic companies. How much are you willing and able to move away from a very capital R, romantic, egoistic, here's my art, there's the receiver, and the angle will always be like that. And I'm not underestimating how difficult that might be for certain artists. Some artists will want peace and quiet, or will want respectful silence in the opera hall or the theatre hall, rather than looking out to the audience and seeing people holding up these, or necessarily being encouraged to go to the blog and give their own 25 reviews, as opposed to what Joyce McMillan might say in The Scotsman, on Saturday morning. So I think it's an interesting philosophical question for me. What is the psychological status of the artist vis-a-vis this world in which so many more people have the conceit that they are either creators of material, adapters of material, have the right to respond to material. Everybody's a critic, yeah. Everybody is a critic these days, and sometimes not just a critic. So that's the most interesting thing to me is the challenge to this sort of the subjective mode of the artist in the aughties in the 21st century vis-a-vis the web, because we are naked, and I love all these pictures of people turning up naked in public spaces and arranging themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's a big metaphor for the arts in general in this environment. Thank you.
Thank you.